What's up, guys? Back out to make an update video. Got the bike back apart again, so got some stuff updated on it a little bit, and some things I'm gonna do. So the reason I got the forks off mainly was because I bought some fork gators for it. These are 35 fork gators for a Harley, some kind of classic Harley. But my forks are 37 on these tubes here, so these will fit perfect. So 2 millimeter ain't nothing for it to stretch, and then this bottom fits perfectly on it too. Right over the seal that's on here. I don't know how hard it would be to push them on here, but there you go. So pretty much they'll be like that, and then I'll either leave that seal for a little extra pressure on this, or I'll take it off. I think normally you take it off. So that's what I got going, but mainly I wanted to switch my forks back out because these, I like how it looks better when it sits right on the end of the axle instead of the leading edge here. And these forks look a lot better on a Cafe than these leading edge ones. These look almost like it sticks your tire out a little bit more, so it makes it look different. So I'm rebuilding these forks. I got some seals in the way, and I'm going to have a friend help me, and we're going to rebuild these, and then I'm going to put the fork gators on them and put it all back together. And you can see I got the parts bike apart. That's the one I took them off of, because they were originally on this bike, but I didn't have the means to rebuild them at the time, or didn't want to. So, but now I'm really wanting to rebuild them for the looks, and I think it'll look a lot better. And I've got some clip-ons on the way, so I'm going to take these Clubmans off and put some clip-ons on. While I'm doing that, I'm going to shave this mount down, and I'll probably use this mount, because this mount has a bolt broke off, and this is the exact same top triple tree. And I'll probably use this because this already has a bolt broke off, and I'll just clean it off and shave it off smooth. And this one actually doesn't have anything wrong with it, so I don't want to mess that up in case I ever want to go back to it, or I gotta sell some parts or something. So I thought I'd leave that one at least intact and put it on there, and then it'll be the exact same thing. So other than that, I've got some gauges on the way. I wasn't gonna replace these because I really like the look of these gauges, but since I'm putting clip-ons on, these are going to be up really high, and I don't want that look, because I mean my clip-ons are going to be down here, and then that's going to be way up there, and I don't think it'll look very good, especially once I shave that off. I want to try to keep everything as even with this as I can across the top. So those gauges got to go. So I've got a Trail Tech Vapor gauge, digital gauge on the way, and it's not plug and play on my bike, but I've ordered one for an SV650, a Suzuki, and I can pretty much just hook it right up. It's got a sensor, a magnet sensor that hooks to your wheel for your mile per hour, and then your tack line hooks up exactly like this, because this is actually a digital tack here, and that hooks into my coil, and this is of course a analog type of gauge there. It has to hook right into the motor down on the front of the cams. So that'll look nice once I get that. I'm planning on doing all this weekend. Everything's on the way. It's already been ordered, so I'm going to be rebuilding forks this week, mounting up those gauges and getting them hooked up, and getting the fork gators back on and getting it all back together. Hopefully in time for a ride this weekend, and getting the clip-ons on and getting them sorted out. So other than that, I've got some gas shocks here. These aren't nothing special. They're just eBay type of shocks. But man, they are really nice in my opinion. I've never had any nice Öhlins, and I don't think I ever will, because I don't want to spend $800 on shocks on a $250 bike. Well, it's not really a $250 bike. It's just what I paid for it. In my opinion, it's worth a little more, maybe $1,000. On a really good day, I might get a little more, but it's just not something I want to put expensive shocks on. And yeah, I could have spent $300 or $400 and got a nice pair, but it's still not in my interest to do that. I would rather put it somewhere else, because these shocks here, worst case, I could have to rebuild them after a while. I haven't seen any bad reviews on them blowing out or anything like that. I've just heard that they don't put enough oil in them, and you start to have dampening issues and that kind of thing. So when I took them out, I pretty much, you know, felt them and worked with them, and I think they're okay. I mean, maybe I got lucky, but they both seem to be exactly the same as far as the flex and that kind of thing. I've already rode with them, and man, it's a lot different than these other ones I had on here. These are the Showa shocks I had on here, and I really liked them until I rode the bike. So these, I really don't think they're rebuildable. Like, this is welded, this is pretty much ball peened on there, whatever you want to call it. There's a little studs that go through these, and this top might come off, but I don't know how. I think somehow you got to compress this shock and then spin this to a certain spot, and it releases it, or something to that effect. And that may be what happens. I think you might just compress this and then pull this top off, and they might be rebuildable, but I'm just going to go ahead and sell them to somebody else that wants to mess with them, because I think they're for a really heavy bike, something with bags on it, because they came off of that bike, and that was originally a Suzuki 1000 frame, and it might have had all the fairings and everything else on it. I'm not really sure. So those are really heavy duty shocks, I think. And these, before I couldn't even push on this to flex it, and now at least when I push on it, it flexes, and when I sit on it, it lowers too. So that's pretty good. I got them all mounted up best I could. I just put 3 spacer washers to get it out even with the bottom, and then 2 spacers on top because these cap nuts only go so far. Probably shouldn't have been pushing on that with it on jack stands, but I've got it on 2 stands and then the jack underneath it, so that one I just pretty much lifted up and stuck on there. So pretty much that's what's going on. Like I said, I got digital gauges on the way, some clip-ons, and probably something else I forgot that's coming. I got some little things here. I got some little Suzuki things. I don't know if you can see them very well. Caps there. They're really nice. I thought that was almost a plastic insert when I was ordering it, but that's actually machined on there, and it's like an aluminum insert there, and man, those are really nice. So they'll give it some small detail to it, but for now, that's what's going on. I got the headers off, of course, so I can get the bike up, because with those 4-in-1s, it goes right through the middle, and you just can't put you can't jack it up with having that on there. But what I'm thinking about doing, I saw a Suzuki 750E, and it's favorited on my videos. If anybody wants to check it out, you might be able to see it under my favorites, because I just favored it here recently. It has that same Kirker header on it, and I don't think it has a baffle. It's just like that. It looks just like that, except it looks a little more chrome on the bottom there. And it sounds really good, and I might try to run it that way and see how that sounds. But of course, I can always go back to this one that's a Vance & Hines 4-in-1. So I think that'll sound pretty good if I can get it on there and get the bike tuned before the weekend. But the first day it's warm this weekend, I'm going to probably take this bike out and re-sync it, because I think it needs to be synced in the warm weather, and then I don't think we synced it at the right RPM range. It's supposed to be like 12 to 1500, or maybe even 1500, so I don't think we synced it at that RPM range. So I'm probably going to have to do that again, and hopefully that'll fix some of my problems, because it really rides good right now. It just, certain RPM ranges, when you're holding the throttle steady, it wants to surge and do a little bit of moving around. Nothing too awful bad, but it's something I really want to try to eliminate and get this bike running perfect without having to take it to a shop for them to do anything. I mean, I've already bought the Carb Tune synchronizer and all that stuff. I've got actually some brass tubes now that go on to there, and they're a lot easier to hook the synchronizer tubes to, and I think they'll help a lot. They pretty much stick right out of the bottom of the carbs a whole lot farther. So that's probably something I'm definitely going to be doing before I ride this weekend, but hopefully I can get all this done and get these forks switched around. But you can see, like, these tubes are a whole lot shorter. They don't look it when they're on the bikes, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they're flexed in or what, but you can see there's a huge difference at the top, and then with the bottom like that, it's it's a whole lot different. And it may be because since they raised that axle up onto there, you can see that once this is up there even with that, it's even up here. But I definitely like the look of the shorter forks. It's going to be less weight. You know, all around I think it's going to be better. And you can see that the weight I'm talking about is taken out with this bottom fork here. You can see that you're missing that much of weight there, so that'll be nice not to have to have that in there. So hopefully I can get that done. If anybody's wondering, the difference in these forks, these are L forks and these are E forks, and those are just, you know, the different models. Like these came off a 1000 model and these came off the 850 originally, and these in my opinion are better forks, just because they're shorter and they look better for a cafe. These are probably better internals because they are they're a lot stiffer, and you know, they keep the bike up a lot better. But I don't plan on, you know, doing any wheelies or anything with this, so I'm not worried about too much of how the bike sits when it's coming down off of some weight, you know, especially, you know, since I'm not wheeling it. So, but anyway, enough of that. Hopefully when I get all this done and going, it'll look a lot better, and should be pretty happy with it. That way I can get all of this cleaned up. I'm really not liking how there's just so much wires up here. But anyway, that's going to eliminate all this too, like these, because I ordered the digital tack, and it's got all my lights on it and stuff. And if you look up the Trail Tech Vapor, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it'll pretty much sit down in here flat, or possibly at a small angle or something, and then it'll have these lights around the sides, you know, 2 on each side, and you can customize it however you want. You can put turn signals there, an oil light, you can oil temp light, you can put your gas low fuel light, just about whatever you want. So that should work out fine, and hopefully we can get it all hooked up by the weekend. I mean, it's really nothing but hooking up that tack wire and getting there's a cable that'll run down the forks and down here, and then you just pretty much switch out one of your bolts on here and with a magnet. So as long as I can get all that done, we should be good. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll have another update going by this weekend, or at least as soon as I get the fork seals and get the forks back on. That's my main thing I'm worried about, is getting these forks back on in time. But before that happens, I got to get the seals and the clip-ons. So once those come in, I'll do all that, and then the last thing I'm sure will be hooking the gauge up, and that'll probably be the hardest, just because it's time consuming. I think it's a, you know, 1 to 2 hour job minimum. So, but appreciate everybody watching and commenting and everything. I don't get a whole lot of comments, but I don't worry about that. You know, as long as you guys are watching and at least enjoying the videos, that's all that matters. So, other than that, I mean, I got some other stuff going on. I don't know if anybody's watched the other video. I'm still going to be rebuilding this. It's just kind of on hold right now. I've got some Marvel Mystery Oil soaking in the cylinders, and I thought I might just go ahead and compression test that, because they may be good. It may have just been a stuck ring on one of the cylinders. So I'm going to go ahead and compression test it and see if I can get anything out of it. Before I do that, I need to hook up some kind of bench tester and see if I can crank the engine over. So I did get a new tool, paid $50 for this. I don't have a drill press in here, and I've really needed one for a lot of things, just because it's a whole lot easier to drill a straight hole just doing this, you know, and you got your clamps that can hook onto there, and you can just clamp it down and everything. So that's really what I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff with. I've got a whole brand new kit of metal bits, so hopefully if I had to make the mount up for the new gauges I'm getting, because it comes with some mounts, but since I'm going to be cutting all this off, you know, obviously it's not going to be able to hook to that. Hopefully I'll be able to hook to the original gauge mounts down here somehow, and that's probably what I'll be doing. But I'll definitely need this for it. This label was coming off when I bought it, so I went ahead and put some glue underneath it and just put some tape on it to hold it down while the glue dried. So it looks like there's still a little bit of it wet, but it ain't going to be enough to matter. Most of it's spewed out here, but it's going to hold that down a lot better. But anyway, it works good. It's really quiet. It's adjustable. This stand goes up and down like most of them. You can adjust your your drop here, like how much this drops. And then when you open the top up, it's completely adjustable on speed. Like this lowest settings for your metal bits, this top setting would be for wood bits, and anything in between you can get an idea of what it can do there, and it'll give you the RPM ranges for certain types of aluminum, wood, iron, and steel. So it'll definitely be a good drill press here to work with, at least not having anything. You know, I've got a lot of other stuff, but nothing like that, so that'll be good. But anyway, I'll end the video now. It's getting a little long, but thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate it.